cannot lead if you cannot listen. A leader must have empathy. A leader must have courage. To lead, you need to have the courage of your convictions, because leadership is not easy. And to lead, you must also be a good follower. Diversity and representation is critical. You need to have all voices and all views in leadership positions, because God made a diverse world, and therefore we need to reflect that diversity. But I also insist on merit. It is those who have the capacity and merit leading who should lead. But what does that mean? Does it mean that within a diverse world you cannot find within each population those who are merit-worthy? The answer is no. Of course you can find them. And therefore you can have both merit, diversity, and representation. You can have excellence.
Today, we're going to be talking about a prominent person in the world, a prominent African, someone that, has gone out there to represent Africa in a great way. So before we get into the conversation, I'd like to give you a sense of who we're talking about. She was born in 1954 and, she was born in Ogwashi, Uku. By now, you should already know who we're talking about. We're talking about no other person than Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. So she was born in Delta State, Nigeria, and she is the daughter of a king. I'm not talking about a metaphorical king or your Disney king. No, her father is actually the Obi, the traditional ruler of his community. She went to Harvard, graduated with magna cum laude, then earned her PhD from MIT. She spent 25 years at World Bank, rising all the way to number 2. She became Nigeria's finance minister, and she didn't just do that once, she did it twice. First woman ever to achieve that feat. Then in 2021, she was elected the Director General of the World Trade Organization, the first woman and the first African to lead an institution that governs global trade for 166 countries. And in November 2024, she was reappointed for a second term. And guess what? It was a unanimous vote. That is who we are celebrating today.
The narrative of a rising Africa is being challenged. About 10 years ago, I spoke about an Africa of hope and opportunity, an Africa of entrepreneurs, an Africa very different from the Africa that you normally hear about of death, poverty, and disease. And that, what I spoke about, became part of what is known now as the narrative of the rising Africa.
She shows up to the G20 summits, the WTO ministerial conferences, to meetings with heads of state in African outfits. That is something that we have to talk about here every single time. So my question is, Ms. Adanna, is what does this mean? Is this a political statement, or is it that that's just who she is, or what does it say to the young African watching us right now?
Yes, I love the way she shows up. In fact, that is one of the reasons why I will tell you for a fact that Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is my role model. I learn from her every day, and especially how she represents her culture. That means she's carrying her culture, her heritage everywhere she's going. Her attire is telling the world, I'm from somewhere. Her attire is telling the world who she is. Her attire is telling the world where she's rooted. And her attire, each vibrant pattern whispers, you can be rooted in tradition and still conquer global boardrooms. So it makes her to tell the world that change the narrative of what the belief that African is. So when you see her, you are seeing her tradition, you're seeing her culture, you're already asking questions. Oh, what does this attire, where does this attire come from? And you know, oh, this is African. And you know that this bold and confident, intelligent woman coming from Africa, it means that Africa has something great to offer. So that is something about her, and about her attire, and about how she presents herself, and about her culture and who she is that makes her different and unique.
Oh, thank you very much for that response. The idea I'm able to draw out from your answer is that excellence and cultural identity can coexist, and it's possible for them not to be in conflicts. This should be a powerful message going out to that young girl, that young guy in Lagos, in Abuja, in Nairobi. Okay, so culture and also excellence can coexist, just as we have a wonderful example of Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala. So moving on. Now, here is something that I think of is one of the most remarkable parts of our history. And most people don't know the full picture. When Nigeria put her name forward to lead the WTO in 2020, the Trump administration was in power, and the Trump administration actually blocked her. The most powerful government in the whole world, right? But yet, she still got the job. So, Miss Adanna, how do you fight a battle like that? And what does her path actually teach us?
Okay, it shows resilience. Her path shows resilience, and it's actually hinged on ancestral wisdom meeting modern power. Her success is built on the shoulders of countless Africans who fought for education. Remember, you talked about her background coming from a royal background where her father or her, her was the Obi. Obi is the king, the Eze of her community. So she had it shows that she comes from that royal wisdom, which transferred from that her father to her. Every decision she makes at the World Trade Organization carries that ancestral weight. And she's not just representing herself, it shows that she's representing generations who dreamed of seeing an African woman lead the global trade. That responsibility pushes her to be intentional, to make sure her position actually transforms things for the next generation. It shows that no matter the obstacles that are put before you, the frustrations by the government, you don't give up, you keep pushing. And that is what Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala represents, resilience. Thank you.
On the issue of how important is it to be a troublemaker? Okonjo-Iweala, that's what they used to call me. Absolutely. I think sometimes you just have to speak up for what you believe in. You've got to operate on certain values and principles, and you have to know who you are. It doesn't matter to me if people praise me outside, but when I get inside, I don't feel good because the values and principles on which I think one should operate, I've not carried them through. So when you see those values and principles being challenged, whether it's when you're fighting corruption, whether it's an issue or trade, whether you're talking about climate change and whether it exists or not, when what you believe in, you should be very clear about what you believe in. And once you know that you're clear, you have clarity, then when you speak up or you fight for it, then sometimes people say you're a troublemaker. But if you're a troublemaker for the right things, why not?
You know, this makes me remember a story in the Bible, which is David and Goliath. That although Goliath was there and he was a strong man, that didn't stop David from actually confronting him. So to the young guy or to the young girl out there watching this, who aspires to be an achiever in future, do not let anything stop you. Even as strong as the Trump administration, which is the world power as it was back in 2020, Okonjo-Iweala did not allow it to stop her. She showed resilience. Last question. So, and this one is the one I want us to really sit down with, and I want us to really take in. She negotiated the cancellation of 30 billion. Now, I'll repeat that. $30 billion of Nigeria's debt. She also helped build the COVAX, that is the global facility that got COVID vaccination to the poorest countries in the world. She sealed a deal on fishing subsidies that has been stuck for 20 years. But what's one thing that she has done that you feel doesn't get enough attention? And also, if she could say one thing directly to young Africans right now, Miss Adanna, what do you think that will be?
Okay. Two questions. Her push for vaccine equity during the pandemic, advocating for fairer distribution to developing nations, directly saved African lives. That means she used her position to remind the world that trade rules should serve humanity and not just corporations. So she is a woman. She is a woman that stands for what she represents, for what she personifies. She's a woman that stands for humanity, for the people she's leading. And I'm sure that is why she is still climbing the ladders of success till today. And what I will tell the younger generation today is that you don't stop. You know what you are there for. You know what you are called to do. She's a woman that had discovered her purpose. Apart from discovering who she is, she discovered what she has been called to do, and know what you are called, the value, what you are to, the value you are to give to your generation. So this woman is someone that has, for centuries, the world was told Africa produces resources but can't lead institutions. Ngozi shatters that lie. Her position as the first African woman to lead World Trade Organization isn't just personal achievement. It's a complete rewrite of the global story about African capability. So for young Africans watching it, it says the system that told us we couldn't belong, we can lead them. We can reshape them. That's revolutionary empowerment. And that is what Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala stands for. And that is why we are celebrating her today. And I want the young generation to use her as a role model. She is a great role model to every young woman or girl or man, actually, because it's not just because she's a woman. Every young teenager looking up to her, learn from her attributes, learn from her success, and know that you can also be there. You can do better. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Adanna. That's my time there, but I'll just like to drop this for all the viewers out there. Dr. Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala is proof that Africa does not just produce followers. Africa produces leaders. And our story is not finished yet, actually. We hope this conversation stays with you that are watching this particular video, and that next time someone tells you that the room wasn't built for you, remember this: she walked in anyway, and she ran it. If this has inspired you, I would like you to share this video, tag someone who needs to hear this today, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you.